In this video, we are still determining the equations of the parabola, right? Perfect. So, as I said, you always start by checking what you are given, right? In this case, I'm given the turning point and the y-intercept, right? Those are the only 2 points given. Then they say we must always leave our answer in this form, okay? That should be fine. So, if I have the turning point, I have to use the turning point form. I have to use the turning point form. So of which is already given there, but sometimes they don't give you, so I advise you to also know it off by heart, which is ax plus p squared plus q. This is the turning point form, right? Perfect. Then remember, we know this, right? We know that y equals to a. My pen is too small. Let me increase it. I want it to be big. And then I have x. Remember, if on the point it's negative, right? Inside it must be positive. It's always opposite, right? So plus 1. And then we have squared. And then the q will be the 6. The q doesn't change. So we have plus 6, right? And then because they say we must leave it in this form, so I know that, okay, here I'm sorted, here I'm sorted. I just need to get a. Okay. Remember, I said to get a, you always substitute a point. This you used already, you can't use it, right? It's out. But we have another point here, which is the y-intercept. Remember, on this line, the x value is always 0, right? On the y-axis, the x value is 0. And then also here, you should know that the y value is 0 on the x-axis. On the y-axis, the x value is 0. So that's why when you do the y-intercept, you make x 0. When you do the x-intercept, you make y 0. So let's see. We're going to substitute 0 and 3. Right, x is 0 on this line, remember. So my y is 3 equals to a. My x is 0. Then I have plus 1 squared plus 6. Right, which is 3 minus 6 equals to a to the power 1. Because this, when you square this bracket here, it will just be 1. Right, and then the positive 6 becomes minus there. So you have negative 3 equals to a, because a times 1 is a, right? And then you have your y is equals to negative 3x plus 1 squared plus 6. Just substituted the a by negative 3. Right. Perfect. So according to the question, this is the form that they want us to live in. But if they don't tell you which form to leave it in, you're always going to convert it to the basic form. I'll just show you with this one. So this is what we're going to do from here. You say y equals to negative 3. Then you're going to have x plus 1. Then you have another x plus 1 here. Then you have 6, right? Which is negative 3. When you fold this bracket, your final answer is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 1, and then close bracket plus 6. When you multiply these two brackets together, this will be your final answer, which becomes negative 3 x squared. You multiply the negative 3 now, then minus 6x minus 3 plus 6. So you multiply the negative 3 to each single term to get this terms here. And then you can easily see that your y is therefore going to be 3x squared minus 6x plus 3, because these two are like terms and they add up to 3. And that is it in the basic form, right? So if they just say find the equation of the parabola, always leave it in the basic form, unless stated otherwise. Just like here, they want you to just leave it here. Perfect. So the other examples that I'm going to do, I'm not gonna get up to here, because I showed you with this one how to do it. We'll just follow the instructions, then that should be fine. Let's do the second one. Where's the second one? Okay. Let's see. So this one we have two options, right? We are given the turning point, which is also the x-intercept. We are given the turning point, which is also the x-intercept. Then you have an additional point there. If this is the case, you can always use the x-intercept form or the turning point form. But ladies and gents, the better one to use in this case is the turning point form, because you just plug in. We're just going to plug in. And then remember I said on the x-axis, the y value is what? It's 0. So I know that, okay, here the y value is 0, the x is -2. So my TP is going to be -2 coordinate 0, right? Then I'm always going to prefer using the turning point form over the x-intercept if my turning point is on the x-axis. Sure. Then you have y equals to ax. Remember, it's opposite. If it's -2, here's going to be +2, right? Then plus q, which is 0. So I'm not going to write anything here because your q is 0, right? Okay. And then we're now going to sub in a point, right? I always just like preferring putting an arrow there. So this is my x, and that's my y. So my y is 6 equals to a, and then my x is 1 plus 2 squared, which is 6 equals to a. This will give you 9 when you simplify it. Then you divide by 9 both sides to isolate a. Therefore, a equals to 6/9, which is basically 3 goes twice into 6, it goes 3 times into 9. So it's 2/3. Then you come here, you say, therefore, y equals to, your a is 2/3 x plus 2 squared. Then you left it in that form. And then that's finito. Now let's do number 3. Okay, number 3. Check number 3, number 3, number 3. Okay. Number 3, we given the x-intercepts. We also given a point. So we need to use the x-intercept form. So y equals to a, x minus x1, x minus x2, right? Then we want to substitute now. So I'm going to have y equals to a. Remember, this will be x1. This will be x2. And the origin, sometimes that you are like here, they showed you 0, but they sometimes don't show you anything. They expect you to know that the origin is 0, coordinate 0, right? Sure. So I'm going to have x minus 0, which is just x, right? I'm not going to write 0 because as a mathematician, you should know that 0 we don't write, right? And then I'm going to have x minus 5. This negative is this one, the 5 is positive, so you just put it there. And then you're now going to sub in a point. This is your x, that's your y. So my y is 3 equals to a x, and then you have -1 minus 5, which is 3 equals to, oh, here it's -1, sorry about that. So you have a, and then you have -1, this will be -6. So -1 times -6, it's +6, right? Which becomes over 6/6. Therefore, your a is what? It's 1/2. Sure. Then remember here, before you fill in the a, you need to fill in the 2 brackets first. So my a is still there. This times that, it's x squared. This times that, it's minus 5x, right? Then you have y equals to half x squared minus 5x, because my a is half, so I replace with half there. Then you have y equals to, you FOIL in the half, so it's that squared minus 5 over 2x. Right. Perfect. But I should have actually left my answer here, right? According, no, actually I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Let's do this. So here we're not done, ladies and gents. We still need to write it in this form, right? We still need to write it in this form. So this is what I'm gonna do now. Okay. So I know that so far I have y is equals to, my a is half. Then I have x plus p, right? Then squared, then plus q. So I need to find p and q. Remember, the x value on the turning point, right, is negative b over 2a, right? Which is equals to negative, in bracket, my b is negative 5 over 2. So negative 5 over 2 divided by 2, and then half, right? My a is half. And then let's see, this and that will be 5 over 2, because the negatives are going to cancel. Then you have divided by 1, which is just 5 over 2. So you know that your x here, it's 5 over 2, right? Then you need to find the corresponding y. The other way to find the x value in the turning point is this. If I have x1 and x2, is the midpoint, remember, because the axis of symmetry cuts the graph into two equal halves. So I could have just said 0 plus 5 all over 2, which is the halfway, right? Midpoint. And then which is 5 over 2. Do you see? This is your 0, that's your 5. Sharp. Now to get the y value, we have to substitute 5 over 2 here, right? So when I have y is equals to 1 over 2, and then you have 5 over 2 squared minus 5 over 2 into bracket 5 over 2, right? To save time, we'll just use a calculator in this case. Let's see. Let's open a calculator quickly. Let's see. Let me do new share. So I need to share my this and that, right? Okay, calculator must come in now. So let's see. So this is our calculator. So we're gonna type 1 over 2. And then you're gonna type 5 over 2, which is your x in the turning point, substituted into the graph. Then minus 5 over 2, then bracket, then divided by 5 over 2. Then you close your bracket. And that gives you negative, let's see, it's negative what? Negative 25 over 8. Negative 25 over 8. Right. Then now you can easily write this in the turning point form, which is that x, remember, if it's positive here, inside it must be negative. So you have negative 5 over 2 squared, the outside remains the same. So it's minus 25 over 8. And that's finito. Right. Now we're going to go to the next question. Let's go to the last question. The last question. Okay. So this question here, right? We are given neither the x-intercept nor the turning points. If that's the case, you have to use the basic form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. you will always be given C. If they don't give you the turning point or the x-intercept, they will always give you C. And that is the first thing you start with. Ne? So you have y equals to ax squared, right? Plus b x, right? And then you can see that your C is the 4, is the y-intercept, remember, so plus 4. Right. Then now you need to do simultaneous. Ne? You have 2 points and two unknowns, A and B. So firstly, I'm going to start by substituting at this point. So my y is 6 equals to A, my x is 1 squared plus B, 1 plus 4, right? This gives me 6 equals to, this will be 1 times A, which is A. This will be plus B plus 4. So I want to make A as the subject of the formula. So I'm going to move this 2 to the other side. So I'm going to have 6 minus 4 minus B equals to A. Then therefore, A is equals to 2 minus B. Ne? And that will be my equation 1. Okay. Perfect. Now I need to do the same with this one. Substitute it there as well. Ne? So my y is 4 equals to A, my x is 3. Then you have squared plus B, 3 plus 4. Right. And then you have 4 equals to, this is 9 times A, which is 9A, right? Plus 3B plus 4, right? And then I'm now going to substitute A into that function there because A is equals to this. So I'll take the A and put it in here, there, right? So let's rewrite this. So we have 4 equals to 9, where I see A, I put 2 minus B, because 2 minus, we say A is equals to 2 minus B. So we see you can put 2 minus B. Then plus 3B plus 4, right? Then you have 4 equals to 18 minus 9B. You fill in the 9 into the bracket, right? Plus 3B plus 4. Right. And we're going to have 4 minus 18, then minus the 4. So you take this 2 to the other side. They change the signs. Then you're going to have minus 6B when you add these two like terms. Right. Here you have this 4 canceling that one. So you're left with minus 18 equals to 6B. Right. And then you can therefore see that your B is going to be -3 because you're going to divide by 6 both sides to isolate the B. Right. After getting the B, you can therefore get your A. A is equals to 2 minus the B is -3. Therefore, A is 5. Right. Now you have your graph as Y equals to what? Let's see. 5x squared. And then our B is -3x, then plus 4, right? And then, ladies and gents, I'm sure you know now how to find the turning point. So from here, you need to just find the turning point and do the opposite when you substitute there. The Y value will remain the same, and you have your A, which is 5, right? Perfect. If you are not sure how to write it in this form, just check number 3 again, how I did it, and then should make sense. Thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you in our next session of Maths Fanatics 24/7. Tango. Saluta continua.